Hi everyone, my name is Jan. This is Jakub.
Hi.
We are here today to talk about React Suspense. We do quite a lot of workshops, but we use the content in them just once. So we decided to try to create a video podcast where we could share what we, or actually not me but guys, created for the workshop. And today we would like to talk about, as I mentioned, React Suspense. So Kubo, tell us more what React Suspense is.
Well, React Suspense is pretty new thing, and it actually does two things. One is in production right now, and it is that it helps with code splitting.
Okay.
And another one that the React team is currently working on is Suspense for data fetching. And I would not like to talk about that today, but I would like to show you the code splitting and how it's done using React Lazy and React Suspense.
Okay. Code splitting, is it something similar to what Webpack does? With
Yeah.
like the CSS bundles, those kind of things?
Yeah, that's exactly it basically.
Okay.
The advantage of React is that they implemented it so that you can now lazy load any component you like, import it, and then on your site it is downloaded only at the moment it is actually needed.
Okay. And is it somehow bound to Webpack or is it done by React itself? Or how that fits together with... Do you need any special Webpack configuration for that, or does it work somehow out of box?
Well, actually you have to configure it in Webpack,
Right.
but if you use create React app, then it is available for you out of the box.
Alright, sounds good. Show me.
Show me what you got. Okay.
Exactly.
So, as you can see, I get some application here. Right now it's just simple application that doesn't do many things. It has just 3 tabs here, and if you load the page, all the site is downloaded at once, at one time. And then if you switch between tabs, nothing is downloaded dynamically, only images. That is by default. That's what browser does.
Right.
But we don't need to have it like that, because usually we should consider also some devices on slow network or on slow connections, that users don't have to download the whole site to visit our homepage or to visit our contact page. Why would they need it? So that's where lazy loading the components and where code splitting actually comes into work.
So basically I split my application into separate sections or pages, and then I load each of them separately, or rather just the first one, and load the following pages only if needed, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's try it. And eventually we can see here in developer, how is it called?
Developer tools?
Developer tools, thank
Right.
you. That it will be different.
Okay.
So here is a source code of that application. We've got some components that are imported the usual way, and the first thing we need to do is to import them dynamically. So, do you know what is dynamic import, by the way?
Whoa, okay, test. No, I don't, probably. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, dynamic import is just the different syntax of importing components. You can type import and use it as a function.
Oh, I see.
And there you add a path. And what this will do is that it will basically return a promise when this component
Right.
is loaded.
Is that what Rick just started with? How's it called? AMD, asynchronous module definition.
I think so.
Is that kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Probably a different or in Webpack implementation of the same pattern, but that's probably the same.
Yeah, again, you have to have this configured in your
Right,
Webpack.
right. But that would be probably like
But
AMD. Okay.
Again, if you use create React app, it is configured by default.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But it is important to know that there is something like this because we will use it.
So now we have on line 7, it's a static import, and 9 is dynamic import, right?
Yeah, and when this import is done, it returns a resolved promise. So you can type something like then, and here do something with your component. But that's not the usual way we handle that. We use something called React Lazy. So we will have to import Lazy from React. And it's again a function that will return the dynamically imported component to us that we can later on use whenever we want, wherever we want in our application. So we can type that constant home is now something that Lazy will return, and Lazy accepts one argument, and it's actually a function that returns a promise. And in that promise, we will have this dynamically loaded component. And that's basically it. So now we have home component that we can use in our React application instead of this standard component. But we cannot use it just like that because as you can see now, if I open the page,
Sorry.
come on.
Oh, that's yours. It's not mine. No, it's mine. Sorry for that. Anyway, go ahead.
If I open the page and try to load, I will get an error. It's loading slowly because I'm on slow network. You see? And it actually tells me that I have to add something called Suspense to my application, and that's what we want to talk about. So
what's Suspense?
Well, Suspense can be understood as something like placeholder.
Oh, okay.
It is a component in React that will display some content until another content is loaded, until the content you are waiting for is loaded.
So I don't have to use my state.loading anymore?
Exactly. Normally you would solve this in your state and have several loading finished and stuff like that. And you don't have to do it thanks to Suspense.
Okay.
Okay. So, how it actually works is that we have to import Suspense here from React, and we have to wrap lazily loaded components in that Suspense component. And actually it doesn't matter how deep in the component tree the lazy loaded components are. So we can wrap a root component in a Suspense and it will work like that. And the Suspense accepts one prop and it's a fallback. And inside that fallback we can have any valid component. So I prepared a spinner that we would like to show until our lazily loaded component is downloaded and ready to use.
I guess it can be any other valid HTML as well, right? Just anything JS6 basically.
Exactly, it can be like any valid React component.
Right.
And I will wrap the whole application practice suspense. And now it should work. So I can go to the page and it's working again.
I see.
But I lazily loaded only one component right now, only the home component. I've got two more, so I can do the same for them. Let's do some copy pasting because I'm too lazy to type.
Who isn't?
So now we have three lazy loaded components wrapped inside suspense component, and we render the components based on the tab we are in. So if we go to the page, now we can see that it's still working. And if I clear the network in developer tools, I can see that if I open a content tab, then a new chunk is downloaded with the content of that tab, with that component. If I again clear the network and click on image, again new chunk is downloaded with the whole page.
Right.
So right now if I open a home page, not the whole site is downloaded, but only the page I'm looking at. And only components that are on that page. React will resolve this for me.
And should I see the fallback somewhere, the loading or the spinner? What was there? There was something. I should see it somewhere, right?
Yes, you should. Okay, I now see my mistake. It's because the spinner is actually a component that needs something inside. So I am waiting. Now it's my mistake.
Never mind. It will work.
Now we can go back. And finally it will work.
Ooh, I like the confidence.
I'm 100% confident.
Now
see, there is a spinner.
Lovely, cool. Okay, so finally we were able to get there. So that's it, right?
Yep.
That's the React Suspense.
That's React Suspense for code splitting.
Okay.
There is also React Suspense because right now, as you can see, I opened a page with the image, and React Suspense showed me the spinner until my page content was downloaded, but it didn't wait for the image to download. And there is something called Suspense for data fetching that can solve this issue. But maybe we can talk about this later.
Okay, sounds good. One more question maybe. Would you use the React Lazy and Suspense always together, or is there, except the images you just mentioned, basically you always want to use those two things together, right? There is no other use case where you would use only React Lazy or only Suspense except the images or loading the data from through APIs.
Theoretically, you can catch any promise in Suspense.
I see.
In practice, I haven't seen that anywhere.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you. That was good.
Thank you too.
Okay. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye. Next time.